Tottenham fans are absolutely loving life under big Ange Postecoglou this season. They're playing the Tottenham way once again. The stadium, the brand new sparkly stadium, is rocking and things are looking up in N17. Sun Sports Tottenham correspondent Tom Barclay joins me to chat all things Spurs. Understandably, Tottenham fans in seasons past, with the dark days of Antonio Conte, Nuno Espirito Santo and Jose Mourinho, have not been shy in giving it both barrels to chairman Daniel Levy. Now, what are you finding this season? Now you can't really find a Tottenham fan who's got a bad word to say about anything at their club at the moment. Are you finding that fans are making sure they give him a bit of credit where it's due, where they otherwise might have criticised him?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I think there are for some fans, there's just too much water under the bridge from their perspective over gripes about lack of investment in years gone by in the team, or season ticket prices being too high, or or just the fact they've only won one trophy during his time. That there are some fans who would probably rather name their kids Arsene, Thierry, or Bukayo before they give any praise to Daniel Levy. But I think, whilst it was totally fair to that he copped a bit of flack last year, and I was at a lot of those games where he would, a lot of the chants were directed towards him because of how terribly it went under Antonio Conte and the sort of aftermath of his end to his time in N17. I think you also do have to give a bit of credit, really, for how things have turned around now. I mean, some Spurs fans will say he almost sort of stumbled upon Ange Postecoglou, and it is fair that they were looking at other managers. He wasn't the only option. You know, they looked at Nagelsmann, they looked at Arne Slot, and in Postecoglou's own words, he was sort of the last man standing. And so that is fair. But also, he did appoint him. And lots of other Premier League and Championship chairmen years gone by have swerved Ange Postecoglou. All right, he hadn't just won a treble at Celtic, so that does make a difference. But let's remember that's still in Scotland. It's not one of the five major leagues in Europe, which he hadn't managed in. So to be fair to Daniel Levy, he took the plunge. He decided it was worth it. He liked what he heard. He admitted his mistakes in the fans forum back in September, over hiring what he perceived to be win now trophy managers in Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte at the sort of risk of losing their Tottenham way style of attractive football. And it didn't work out. And as I say, he admitted that he got those wrong.
They got their business done early in January, while some of their Premier League rivals are griping and stumbling over FFP regulations. It's a stick that has been used to beat Levy in the past, the way he conducts the transfer window. And in his time at the club, in his tenure, the overall, as an outsider, for other fans looking at Tottenham, the improvement on all fronts has been vast. Do you think Tottenham fans are perhaps guilty, as fans of lots of clubs are, of getting in there, maybe sort of, getting a bit used to the successes that has come and just constantly striving for more? Because most clubs, you would think, of other teams would kill for the complete package that Daniel Levy's produced at Tottenham.
I wouldn't go that far, because let's be honest, Tottenham is one of the absolute sort of bastions of English football, and it was long before Daniel Levy and Enoch came in back in sort of in 1999, 2000. But it is true that he has turned them into a sort of one of the big six, which they weren't before that. But the stick to beat him that will always be there is the lack of trophies. Only the one in that time, that was in 2008. So I think quite a few of the gripes that fans have historically, there is justification for them. But put it this way, if you were looking at particularly just this season alone, and you were looking to give him a sort of grade out of 10 for how he's fared as the chairman, I think you'd give it pretty high, to be honest. I mean, we talk about Kane leaving, and there will be some Spurs fans who will say they never should have sold their best player, no matter what the circumstances are. He's their greatest ever player. You should not be selling Harry Kane. And I do understand that. But on the other hand, he was going to leave on a free transfer in a year's time. You have to look at, as proven by Everton and Nottingham Forest situation, you have to look at profit and sustainability these days. a sort of £100 million fee was on offer from Bayern Munich, or not far off it. And Bayern in itself is kind of like the most palatable sale they could have made. It's to a relatively inexpensive foreign club that Spurs aren't really going to have. Well, unlikely to have too much sort of dealings with on the pitch, apart from maybe if they met in the Champions League. So in a way, you can sort of understand that sale. And that's, like I say, probably the most palatable one of it. And then they went and look at the players they've brought in. They moved quickly, as you said, in the summer and January in particular. I mean, January, historically, Tottenham don't do quick business in January.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think as the kids say, the general vibe around the club is trending in the right direction as well. Just quickly then, Tom, for what does the future look like? Do you think short term and perhaps a bit longer term for Tottenham, but Daniel Levy as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting times. I mean, I don't see him walking away. It sounds, from speaking to people who are sort of relatively close to him, he seems like he's the same as he ever was. He's just as inscrutable, that poker face, whether things are going brilliantly or going the complete opposite. It's hard to gauge too much from him. But at that fans forum back in September, he talked about how much he cared, and people around him sort of say that as well, that he does really care. Passionately. Now, there will be skeptics amongst the fan base who won't believe that, but you have to say Tottenham are in a good place. It's been what a transformation after in the space of sort of 6 months or so. But regardless of just how things have been going on the pitch, the one thing you can say is during his tenure is that the club is in a good place sort of financially, and that becomes even more important now when you look at, as I said before, profit and sustainability rules, and how the Premier League's newfound sort of teeth when it comes to these rules. It means that clubs like Spurs will never have a problem, and I think also that deserves credit. I mean, look, it's still early days in the Postecoglou tenure. Spurs, you never know what's coming around the corner, and there is a lot of, as I say, water under the bridge from the rest of the time of Levy's time in charge, where it's not like everything from a Spurs fans' point of view is everything is wiped slate clean now. But I do think that, as I said before, from this season alone, it's going pretty well, and fair's fair. You've got to give them a bit of credit for that.